So this is about to go one of two ways. Option one, Trey Hendrickson signs a contract. That's the best solution. That's the best solution that we're listing here. Option two, Trey Hendrickson comes out to the media and says all this is a lie. You know, either way, we get to find out information about Trey Hendrickson. So according to ESPN, conversation talks have began again between the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson, which I hope is 1,000% correct. And if it is, thank God. Because I just want this situation to be done with. I just want Trey to get paid at this point because it's not even worth it to go back and forth 1,000 times and have all this crap. Just get it done with, get it over with, get Shamar Stewart signed, and move on with our lives. That's all I want. So that's a beautiful thing if this is true. But last time, ESPN and a couple other sources said, oh, the Bengals are in conversation talks again with, Trey Hendrickson. We all thought, that's great, that's awesome. Ian Rappaport came out and said that after the draft, they had conversations. Until Trey Hendrickson spoke to the media and was very open and honest about the fact that no, Bengals never reached out to him. They weren't talking. And the Bengals had no interest in talking. And we all sat there like, wait, hold up. How is that possible if we just heard Ian Rappaport say they've been talking since the draft? Well, it wasn't true. None of it was true. So I'm going to believe it when I see it type of mentality here because while, yes, I hope and pray this is true that they're talking again and working out a deal, we don't know. We don't know until Trey comes out and says if it's happening or not. I don't know. So, and keep in mind, whenever you see like ESPN, Jeremy Fowler, you see not Kelsey Conway, sorry, Ian Rappaport, Mike Florio, all these different sources are usually the Bengals side leaking it. So we see ESPN, Jeremy Fowler, that's the Bengals side. So just remember, when you see that, that's the Bengals leaking this. This is the Bengals telling us information. So, but when you see stuff like Kelsey Conway, Adam Schefter, that's Trey's side leaking it. So, it's a little bit different, right? So, if you see one side and you're like, okay, well, Mike Florio just said this, or ESPN just said this, it's probably coming from the Bengals side. So, just keep that in mind. There is a bias there. Like, for example, Kelsey Conway, she will reveal everything from the player's perspective. And you got to remember that when you're reading sources or reading news, is that sometimes it is very biased toward one side because they have their, sides that they leak it from. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, sorry. Didn't mean to spend 20 minutes on that one sentence. Again, like I said, at the end of the day, we offered him $28 million. That was leaked by the Bengals side. He wants 32, 35, right around that range is the rumor. Again, might be incorrect, rumor. So hopefully, again, we finally meet somewhere in the middle. I think if we offered him 28, let's say he wants 32, okay? We offered him 28, meet in the middle. Let's go 31 and get it over with. Again, I know it's a lot of money, and I know this might come back to haunt us in the end. It potentially might not. It's not worth it. It's not worth losing a chance at a Super Bowl, starting off 0-2 because we're going back and forth with this situation. Now there's reports that maybe Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson are coordinating an effort together to hold out. And that this is now more than just a Shamar Stewart situation or Trey Hendrickson by themselves. Now the reports are they're working together to hold out. And again, like I said, take every single report with a grain of salt. Because everyone's a reporter. Everyone wants to post, the craziest stuff out there. When they can't post stuff, when they can't do that stuff, when it's over with. When it's signed. When the contract's done. Once the contract's done and it's signed and we all talking about it, everyone's happy. So Cincinnati, please just get this contract done. Let's not go back and forth at this. It is what it is. Joe Burrow said, "You'd love to have no contract disputes, but that's life in the NFL. We're all supporting Trey and would love to have him back." Yeah. And again, we need him out there. We need him out there. It's not even a question. Samar Short situation, yes, we would love to have our first round pick out there, right? We would love to have a first round pick, developing and stuff like that. But even that situation, it's okay, if we go into the season, we don't have a first round pick, is it the end of the world? No, it's not. It sucks. It really does, because we like to actually use a first round pick. But if we don't have Trey, that's the end of the world. That's a huge, huge, huge issue. We need Trey. So just get the contract done with. We can move on with the offseason. Peace out, guys.